Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you are watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frank Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our community. We have shed light on injustices and have allowed our platform to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we humbly ask of you for you to like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as you are all well aware of what has been transpiring as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. Our page is currently at around 40,000 followers and has been receiving a lot of attention. Good Morning Brownsville has been in the mouths and discussions of all the city of Brownsville, and we're very proud of that and very humbled by that to my community. But the powers that be, they do not want you to know the truth. But remember, I will not be silenced. And if you are really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and hold our leaders accountable, make sure you follow our social media platforms. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube account. We could be found under Frank Olivo TV. We also, in the very near future, will start streaming on X, formerly known as Twitter, because we want to reach the masses in any way possible. And after this program, ladies and gentlemen, I will be making a post. That way we can show you our sister pages and sister links. That way you can make sure that you are always following and always tuning in. Remember, even if we go dark on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, Good Morning Brownsville, rain or shine, will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously. So make sure that you subscribe to all of our social media accounts. We will not be silenced. And thank you so much for tuning in. I am grateful for each and every one of yours attention. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Good morning. Happy Monday. It is Memorial Day. It is a beautiful day to live in this great country. Memorial Day is one in which we celebrate a federal holiday here in the United States. We dedicate, honor, mourn United States personnel who have died and made the ultimate sacrifice for us to live in this great nation that we live in. The common traditions that we mourn those during Memorial Day are: we go visit cemeteries, memorials, we place flags on graves, we attend parades and marches, which I believe the city of Brownsville will be doing. They have it every year. I did get a message before going on live, and they were asking me exactly Good morning, Frankie. Quick question: is there anything going on for Memorial Day? Are they having a silent march or something? I'd like to take my son to see that. Thank you for reaching out. Yes, usually they have one at the library, the public library on Central, if I'm not mistaken. It starts there, and they do a march. I'm not sure at the time. Usually it's around 12, 1 ish, but we will be posting that once we get that information. So it's a beautiful thing that the city of Brownsville does to honor and pay respect to those individuals that made the ultimate sacrifice to give us our rights, our liberties that we enjoy in this great nation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, um, today will be a very interesting day. Today we'll be talking about how we are on the eve of early voting, and the city of Brownsville. The city of Brownsville does have two races that have yet to be decided. We have the District 4 and the at-large positions. In District 4 race, today we will show. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we will show you of why one of those candidates in one of those races, well, both of those candidates, two candidates in those races, do not deserve your vote. In the District 4 race, ladies and gentlemen, we will show you and we will present a daunting picture, one that makes us scratch our heads. And maybe, possibly, even after we are done, we will be more than convinced that you will not vote for these individuals. In the District 4 race, we have seen how Mr. Pedro Cardenas and his former opponents have thrown their support his way. The bloggers and the for the people media platforms, they've attacked his opponent viciously and characterized her as being out of touch with the people, and that the people simply shouldn't vote for her because of the support that she received from the mayor. I've come on before you and screamed at the top of my lungs that here at Good Morning Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen, we pride ourselves in providing you, the viewers, you, my community, the good, the bad, and the ugly, ladies and gentlemen. We have no agendas. We are not biased. We feel as if every subject matter should be given all the information. But what have we seen from these bloggers? What have we seen from these for the people platforms? That they're being biased because they're being paid. They have an agenda. Maybe they have a relationship with Mr. Cardenas. Or they have a business relationship with Mr. Cardenas, or maybe they even stand to gain support for their Republican congressional candidate. In today's program, ladies and gentlemen, on the eve of early voting, Good Morning Brownsville, we will show you how corruption runs rampant in our city. This word of nepotism is alive and well, where favoritism, relatives, friends are corrupt. They amass power and wealth at the hands of us citizens. Those elected officials that we thought were going to be our knight in shining armors because they were former federal agents. Well, it's unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, but these people have turned out to be something out of a Martin Scorsese mob movie with the capos. Well, the city of Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen, is very similar to those movies because the city of Brownsville depicts, just like Martin Scorsese directs those films, and we've heard of history talk about the lives of crime families such as the Colombo, Gambino, and Genoveses. Well, in Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen, we have our very own. We have our very own mob. We have our very own players, interesting characters. Today, we titled our program, ladies and gentlemen, Oh, Brownsville, What a tangled web we weave, because I would like to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. That is my responsibility to my community. How these individuals who are entrusted with your vote, they put people throughout different entities within the city to siphon, to pillar, to deplete our resources that mainly come from you, the taxpayer. These candidates, ladies and gentlemen, these candidates have lied to our faces by claiming that they will fight for corruption, when in reality, they are just a part of corruption. Today, we'll be focusing on Mr. Gustavo de Leon, the recently sworn in District 3 Commissioner. We will be talking today about Pedro Cardenas, the District 4 Commissioner, and is currently in a runoff. We will be talking about Mr. Roy Dos Santos, who is currently a candidate for the at-large race. I told you, ladies and gentlemen, I was going down a rabbit hole. And I'm glad each and every one of you are here to go down into this rabbit hole. My constituents of Brownsville, are you ready? Are you ready to go down with me? I'm sticking my neck out for you, ladies and gentlemen, because it's the right thing to do. Buckle up, Brownsville. This roller coaster ride is going to be very, very entertaining. And if you didn't think that the three-letter agency is watching, they're watching, ladies and gentlemen. So why don't we give them something to look forward to? This isn't news to them, but we will be shedding light on the players and their deceptions. Buckle up, Brownsville. This roller coaster ride is going to be very entertaining. The three-letter agency is watching. So let's give them the goods. And that's how we will start today's program. A job, to get her daughter a job. Now, Ms. Minerva Peña, you of all people, ma'am, know what Carlos Elizondo is all about, and you're currently still on that sinking ship with him. You got your daughter that job. Oh, and speaking of jobs, Pedro Cardenas, Gustavo de Leon, juegue la fría. Truchas, porque Helen Ramírez no quiere hacer lo que le están pidiendo. A Carlos se lo van a enchorizar. Tarde o temprano, él sabe lo que viene. No quiero hablar de ese tema, solamente voy a decir esto. Helen no quiere hacer lo que le están pidiendo. Todos estamos viendo y sabemos. Es mejor evitar eso. Ustedes saben muy bien de lo que hablo. Y no voy a hablar de esto. Nunca más. ¿Ok? Gracias. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we will show you, the voters, of who the real Pedro Cardenas is. Today, we'll focus on him and show you how he is behaving like a mob boss, like a capo, who has managed to convince you, the community, that he is a public servant. In reality, ladies and gentlemen, this individual is far from a public servant. He has shown time and time again how he is not about for the people, but Pedro Cardenas is all about Pedro Cardenas. We will show you how he has conspired behind closed doors and made backroom deals. He is all about quid pro quo. He is a part of that compadre system. He is not being transparent with you. It is my duty to show you, the voters, and make you all very well aware that Mr. Pedro Cardenas does not even live in District 4. He has failed to even offer a residential address within the district. And again, voter registration and candidate eligibility are at question here because of the timing. When Pedro Cardenas moved from District 2 to District 4, he did so on the final day of, which was February 14th of this year. The Texas election law states that this must be done 30 days. An individual cannot change their voter registration until 30 days after the submission. Essentially, Mr. Pedro Cardenas has missed the qualification deadline. I will show you how there are a lot of irregularities in regards to this character that is asking for your vote, Brownsville. Voters should also be very well aware that Mr. Cardenas has no source of income. He doesn't have a job except for the stipend that is provided to the elected city commissioners, which is $25,000, if I'm not mistaken. Now, how dare I say this? Well, we speak facts. Nothing that I say here is without merit, because again, we have a responsibility to you to show you with facts. Elizabeth, how dare I say this? Well, how dare Pedro Cardenas do this to you, the voter? How dare he? It is our job to shed light on politicos and holding them accountable. I need you, my constituent, my voters in the city of Brownsville for District 4 to be well aware that Pedro Cardenas does not have any source of income. So his family does own a restaurant business, but he was not running it. His sister took over because Pedrito was not paying his taxes. The TABC license fees that they have to pay for it. He wasn't paying for it. It got so bad, ladies and gentlemen, that Pedrito was keeping the servers' tips. Can you imagine that, ladies and gentlemen? Can you imagine? Why isn't the For the People platforms talking about this? Shouldn't we be for the server that's being stolen from? Their hard-earned money? We have Pedro taking their tips? Really? The family, ladies and gentlemen, the family took the restaurant away from him. And now currently, his sister is the one that runs it. Now, there's also been talks about a divorce with his wife. Many people have stated that the reason why this was done was because it was a financial decision, possibly to protect her assets, her business. Erasmo Castro confided in me that the main reason why this happened, this divorce came about, was because so his wife could apply for grants within the city. She has a business downtown, and just like others, they see how other people are swindling and swiping taxpayer money in the hundreds, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they got a divorce on paper so his wife could apply for these grants. So think about this, chat. Think about this. Think about this, Miss Elizabeth. Pedrito Cardenas could not run a restaurant. He was stealing servers' tips. He was not paying his taxes. The TABC license fees were not being paid. If he can't run a restaurant, what makes you think, Elizabeth, that he could run the city of Brownsville with their annual budget of $130 million? I don't know, chat. Something to think about. Also to my community. Does he plan to return monies that sponsors contributed to his golf tournament, his golf event last September? It was alleged, ladies and gentlemen, that Pedrito raised $100,000 from this. And if you go to his page, his political page, Commissioner Pedro Cardenas, go to October of 23, look at all those sponsors. There are hundreds of them. Is he going to return the money? What happened to that money? Why aren't these For the People platforms talking about this? It got so bad, ladies and gentlemen, that many people were questioning what's going on, Pedro. Why do you have this golf tournament? This was postponed and it never came to fruition. But again, it's not me who's making the claim of there being $100,000 contributed to his fund. It's not me who's saying it. It's the people out there. It got so bad, ladies and gentlemen, that there was an ethics complaint filed against him. Oh, that famous word, ethics complaint. Why hasn't the For the People platforms talked about this? They throw this in the face of Roy de los Santos, that there was an ethical complaint filed against him. Why isn't this made aware to the public? It got to a point, ladies and gentlemen, where Mr. Cardenas failed. He refused to file a state-required semi-annual campaign finance report that was due in mid-January. Well, guess what? It took someone with the fortitude, such as Mr. Zeke Silva, to file a complaint against his representative on the city commission. And what do you know? A day after Zeke Silva filed his complaint, Pedrito filed his report. A day after the complaint and 7 months after it was due. Now, Cardenas, like all the other city commissioners, they are required under state law of the Texas Ethics Commission to file a campaign finance report listing all of their campaign contributions and expenses covering the past year. But why? Why, ladies and gentlemen, why did this individual wait 7 months to file his annual report? Reportedly in the sum of $100,000. Bring me up. Yeah, bring me up. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have people that are still voting for Pedro Cardenas. Are you okay with him ignoring the laws, stealing from taxpayer from taxpayer monies, from stealing from servers' tips? This is your representative on the city commission? Really? Now, again, in regards to this $100,000 campaign donations, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a white collar expert, but to me, that sounds as if they're washing. To me, ladies and gentlemen, that sounds like money laundering. To me. But what do I know, right? I'm just a humble person with modest means. To Elizabeth, to Sylvia, you will still be voting for Mr. Pedro Cardenas. Okay. Well, let me deliver the message a bit deeper, because I'm setting the predicate of the character of this individual. He doesn't live in District 4. He failed to file his annual campaign finance report for 7 months. He doesn't have a job. Does he plan to return the $100,000 that he received? But again, okay, I understand. You're still going to vote for Pedro Cardenas. Okay, well, let me drive it home for you. Now, ultimately, what is going to be Mr. Pedro Cardenas' downfall would be, of all people, Carlos Elizondo. Yes, that Carlos Elizondo. And if you saw the video in which I started today's program, Carlos Elizondo is going to get arrested. It's only a matter of when. He knows it. His family knows it. Nepotism, ladies and gentlemen, runs rampant in our city. You would think that the dark cloud that Carlos Elizondo has, you would think that people, especially in politics, would avoid. People such as Pedro Cardenas and Gustavo de Leon would stay clear of individuals like this, of characters such as this. Well, just last week, ladies and gentlemen, just last week, Pedro Cardenas and Gustavo de Leon tried to strong arm the city manager's office into hiring Carlos Elizondo. Now, Carlos Elizondo, ladies and gentlemen, currently, right now, if I'm not mistaken, is employed with DHR. He is a nurse. He just recently got a nurse practitioner license. Well, DHR is very well aware of what's going on at BISD. They anticipate that Mr. Carlos Elizondo will be arrested for impersonating a government entity by using that fake Facebook page. Remember, these people at BISD are very powerful, and they have their connections throughout all the different entities within the city. And there's whispers going around. Hey, this is coming down. You may want to get rid of your boy because it's going to have a bad look on you. So what happens, ladies and gentlemen? They try to get him a job. Who? Who tried to do this? Well, your candidates. Gustavo de Leon, recently sworn in as your District 3 commissioner. And Pedro Cardenas. Gustavo de Leon was present in that meeting when Pedrito Cardenas was demanding for the city manager to hire Carlos Elizondo. Gustavo de Leon was there in support. Gustavo de Leon does not have even, 2 weeks? And look what he's involved with. That's called nepotism, ladies and gentlemen. That is something that Minerva Peña was arrested for. Pedro Cardenas thinks that he's in Matamoros, where capos delegate and give orders. Well, I want to tell you, my people, that the city manager's office was like, what the heck? Are you serious? We know the type of person that Carlos is, and you're vouching for him? What? How do you think Helen Ramirez felt? She knows what's going on. She sees the room. She reads the room. She sees the elephant. And here you have these two commissioners vouching for the guy? Why? Why are these commissioners vouching for Carlos Elizondo? The city manager's office, ladies and gentlemen, does not want Carlos back. Carlos is a thief. They want him nowhere around the city. But guess what? These individuals on my screen, ladies and gentlemen, they made a deal with the devil. That is none other than Mr. Carlos Elizondo. Pedrito and De Leon promised Carlos a position with the city as long as he supported them. This is wrong. Now, don't believe anything I say, ladies and gentlemen. Do your homework. Go through Carlos Elizondo's Facebook page. Facebook page. Go through it. Look how he's been campaigning hard for these candidates. Heck, even Jazz Marie, Carlos's fake Facebook page, was endorsing these candidates. I ask you, doesn't this look funny? Doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Are you okay with your District 3 Commissioner, Gustavo de Leon? Are you okay with your candidate for District 4 making backroom deals with the likes of Carlos Elizondo, the devil? Are you okay with this? Again, I'm not making these things up, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's real. This is real life things that are happening behind closed doors. This is something they don't want you to know about. Now, again, what have we seen from the likes of Carlos? Well, Carlos was operating a private ambulance service without a permit, and he was accused of rerouting calls as the fire chief. He was arrested for theft by public servant and misapplications of fiduciary property. So just imagine, ladies and gentlemen, just imagine, again, I'm painting a picture for you. Just imagine the dark cloud that Carlos Elizondo is in. And here you have Pedrito and Gustavo vouching for him. Why? Because he supported them during the campaigns? Really? This is the best we have in the city of Brownsville? Gustavo de Leon was just sworn in a couple weeks ago. And look how long it took him. Look how long it took him to start strong-arming people, pushing his weight. Again, what did you think we were going to get with Mr. Gustavo de Leon? He promised you he would fight for you. He told us he was a federal agent and that he was going to fight corruption. Well, he was present in that meeting. He showed support for Carlos Elizondo to be hired. And when the city manager's office said, no, we will not hire him, they insisted. It's best you hire him. Please reconsider. This is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. This is wrong. This is what you call nepotism. This is what you call causing people to fear for their jobs. Why? Why? Carlos Elizondo couldn't even pass the fire chief. Miss For the People, I'm glad you're tuning in, ma'am. We'll be addressing you shortly. And again, if I'm defaming these people, I ask you, I'm going to bring me back on the screen. You think I'm lying, Susan? Have them sue me. You are following Pedro. Why aren't you talking about that he's stealing servers' tips for the people? Why aren't you telling the community that an ethical complaint was filed against him? You love ethical complaints. You throw it in the face of Mr. Roy de los Santos. Why aren't you telling the people this, Susan, for the people? Do you have a business agenda? Are you going to gain something? Is the Republican Party going to gain something? Is Pedrito going to support your congressional candidate? Bam, bam, bam. Is it? I do not run on lies. You'd be surprised who the sources are. So again, if these individuals, and I'm making serious accusations against Gustavo de Leon, a current city commissioner, Pedrito Cardenas, a current city commissioner that is running for re-election, Roy de los Santos, if you think, Susan, and I want you to do this, have them come out and deny it. Deny it. After this program, I want them to show their face and say, Frankie is wrong. Everything in this program is wrong. You know what, Susan? They won't do it. They won't do it because they know it's real. It's a shame that you claim to be for the people. Why don't you tell people that Pedro was stealing servers' tips? That's their hard-earned money. Why don't you tell the people that an ethical complaint was filed against him for washing $100,000? Shouldn't the taxpayers deserve to know? But again, you think I'm defaming people? I dare them to sue me. I welcome it. In fact, I encourage you, Susan, to ask them to deny my allegations. Come on social media. Go live. Heck, I'll even lend them my platform. But they won't, Susan, because after today's program, I will show you what real investigative journalism is. So enjoy the show, ma'am. You might make it on the show. Defaming people. They're corrupt. Defaming people. No manches. This is nepotism, ladies and gentlemen. People are getting strong-armed. Pedrito, Gustavo, they went to the city manager's office. They went to the city manager's office and they said, give Carlos a job. And they said, we're not going to hire that guy. He's a thief. He's going to get arrested. Frankie's been blasting him. We don't need that attention. So what happens, ladies and gentlemen? What happens? Again, the city is well aware of this now. This has been making the rounds, and look what the community is saying. I received a text. It reads, I've been reached out by several former candidates that are furious as Gustavo and Pedro are trying to get a job for the city, for Carlos. The city employees, they're threatening to expose Gustavo and Pedro if they persist to have this guy fired. I mean, rehired. They tell me that the firefighters are not happy should this guy return. There will be a storm that brews if they succeed on doing that or convincing Helen Ramirez to hire him. And what did Frankie do? It goes on to say, one of them told me that it was part of, quote unquote, the plan for Gustavo to get elected, to provide a job for Carlos. Not sure how true that is, but it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, again, when I come before you with facts. It is not in my best interest. That is not in my best interest to speak lies. I asked Mr. Pedro Cardenas, denounce my report. Say that I'm a liar, that you never strong-arm nobody. I encourage Mr. Gustavo de Leon to do the same. They won't. As much as Susan wants to protect them, Susan is not for the people, ladies and gentlemen. She has an agenda. She is biased. Now, again, I want to paint a picture for you, ladies and gentlemen, because we are dealing with a mob family. We are dealing with capos. You thought the city of Brownsville, because we are on this side of the border, we do not see the same we do not see this happening on this side? Oh, no. It's alive and well. So again, I'm painting a picture for you, ladies and gentlemen, and I ask you to be patient because, again, this is going to be interesting. So again, here on the screen, I showed you how Gustavo de Leon, District 3 Commissioner, and Pedro Cardenas strong-armed the city manager's office. Here it is. To get who a job? Carlos Elizondo. He is a former EMT. Okay, so we talked about that. Now, let's talk about the other players in this web of corruption. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about Mr. Pedro Cardenas and Roy de los Santos. We are alleging very serious things, and it involves the former mayor for the city of Brownsville, Trey Mendez. Now, again, we have been showing you how these individuals, they're not doing it. They're not doing it for because they want for the better good. They're not doing it because of that. Now that we talked about the deal, strong-arming Gustavo de Leon and Pedro Cardenas did. Now we're going to focus on Pedro Cardenas and Roy de los Santos. Again, follow me. We did left. We're going left to right. We did Gustavo. Now we're doing de los Santos. Okay? Follow me, chat. Thank you so much. Let's get it. Now, again, individuals are promising you that they're running for public office because they want the better good for our community. Now, as of late, Trey Mendez has been making waves. Not too long ago, who could forget when he made an announcement? Well, we'll talk about that in just a bit. Now, last week, we did see how Trey Mendez did host a forum, a town hall with Mr. Pedro Cardenas and de los Santos. Now, what I am here to tell you, my community, is that Trey Mendez, now he's leveraging his support for Pedrito and Roy to get Carlos a job in the city of Brownsville. And in exchange, what does this colorful character want? Well, he wants to be the city attorney. Backroom deals, nepotism. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. This is what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Now, again, the former mayor, Trey Mendez, he's been in the news as of late. He was the first one to let the community know, oh, Amazon is right around the corner. He beat the city of Brownsville to make that announcement that it was coming to North Brownsville. This caused confusion as it did not come from our current mayor and from our city representatives. Mayor Cowan had to make a statement that, hey, whoa. Nothing is finalized here. Now, why is this happening? Why is Trey wanting so desperately to get back? Well, because Trey Mendez, ladies and gentlemen, he can't make it in the real world without politics. We have shown you how time and time again, his restaurants, they're given thousands of dollars of our very own monies. Now, a todos mis empresarios de las Prietas, de la famosa Southmost, de la Boca Chica, to all my business owners in Boca Chica, Las Prietas, Southmost, by the port, to all those business owners out there, have you received thousands of dollars for your business, such as Trey has? Heck, just last week, he got, what, $20,000 for Dodici, or 2 weeks ago, sometime recent. Aquellos empresarios, ¿a ustedes no les gustarían 20,000 bolas? To all my small business owners, wouldn't you like 20 grand? Wouldn't you? Serious question, wouldn't you? Those of us that are small business owners who are in the private sector, we know the rigors and the difficulties of managing a successful business. Hey, it's difficult out there. Imagine not knowing if you're going to get paid. I work all on commission. It's a rough world. But you know what? We make things happen because we're good at what we do. We don't need the tit that is the city of Brownsville. And look, we might be in debt. Heck, business owners are in debt. But I'm not asking for handouts. I'm not receiving $200,000 for my Coca-Cola building. I'm not receiving $20,000 for my Dodici restaurant, pizza and wine. You know who is? Trey Mendez. Why? Because he can't make it in the real world. Now, Erasmo Castro brought to light what he, Trey Mendez, and Ramiro Gonzalez, a former city employee, when they applied for grants well over $200,000. And Trey Mendez says that, oh, I've done nothing wrong. Really, sir? You have the audacity to say that to the people of Brownsville? Now, Pedro Cardenas and Roy de los Santos, they promised Trey Mendez the job as a city attorney if he supports de los Santos, Cardenas, and if he helps Carlos get a job within the city. Maybe now you know why Trey Mendez is hooping and hollering and trying to make noise. Maybe now we know why he's hosting these town hall forums. Now, while many people were stating, oh, where are the women? Why aren't the females here at this forum? Why would they want to be around those people? These ladies, they're educated. They both have doctoral degrees. One's an attorney, one's a doctor, a research scientist. Oh, she's not coming to a forum, so no, she's bad. No, ladies and gentlemen. These ladies, they look like Girl Scouts compared to the likes of Roy de los Santos, compared to the likes of Pedro Cardenas, compared to the likes of Gustavo de Leon. They steal from servers. They use the MIDI Foundation. They make backroom deals with Trey Mendez to be the attorney. You think I'm lying? Chat? No. Have them talk about this. You know why they won't? Because they know it's right. And they know I hit the nail right on the head. But we're not done. Este pedo se está poniendo, mira. Again, and pa acabarla, chingao, pa acabarla, this is Trey's Coca-Cola building. This is where Pedrito's wife or ex-wife or wife or on paper, I don't know, también confundido el pedo. This is Sweet and Company or Cake and Company. Pedrito's wife has also received money from taxpayers. If these people can't make it on their own, what the hell are they taking our money for? Trey Mendez got large sums of money to remodel this building. And look, Mr. Trey Mendez, I have a concerned citizen that says it's hard to have a business. Bring me up, please. It says it's hard to have a business. We have to contribute with them because then they won't let us work peacefully with the city of Brownsville. If we don't work with them, they will close your business or make your business impossible to operate. No más quieren feria. So here we have the grifters that are Pedro Cardenas and his wife's company and Trey Mendez. You think I'm lying? Ask them to come out publicly and denounce my reporting. Because they won't. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm painting a picture for you. I'm asking you to look into these serious allegations, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's happening in our city. Now, again, recap, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about how Gustavo de Leon, Pedro Cardenas, strong-arm the city manager to get Carlos Elizondo a job. Are you following me? I'm on the left here. I'm on the left here. Now, let's move left to right. What do we show? We showed how Pedrito Cardenas and Roy de los Santos have made a backroom deal to get el chiquito picoso gallito, Trey Mendez, a job at the city attorney. Why? Because Trey can't make it off the public tit. He knows it. Everybody knows it. I'll call it to his face. He could call me a liar if he thinks I'm wrong. He could sue me. He's an attorney. But you know what? He won't. Because he knows I'm right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will uncover. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will talk about some PUB board members. Now we will reveal the final players in this web of corruption. Oh, Brownsville, what a tangled web we weave. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about someone. A PUB board member that was promised. Look at this. Well, I'll speak on that a little bit after. But now we'll be talking about a PUB board member that owns Monarca Baja Kitchen Restaurant in downtown Brownsville. Another grifter. Another person that's taking your tax dollar money, and he's part of that corruption web. A constituent says, esos son la maña de Brownsville. Y se quejan de Mexico. Corruption is live and well, ladies and gentlemen. I'm painting a picture for you. I'm putting it all out. I tagged all the authorities, all the different entities, even the three-letter agency. Because again, if you think that they're not well aware of this, they know. And they just need maybe someone like Frankie Olivo to paint the picture a little bit more brighter. Now, again, now we'll be focusing on PUB. How Pedrito Cardenas appointed someone to the PUB board who is an owner or has some financial interests in Monarca Baja Kitchen located in downtown Brownsville. Also, we're going to shed light and reveal the other player, which to me, this one really bothers me. Really bothers me. Why? Because these individuals, they want their hands in everything. When I told you that Carlos Elizondo and his network of friends are the modern day Sylvia Atkinson, they make Sylvia Atkinson look like a Girl Scout compared to these individuals. Why? Because we have a former federal agent that is a part of this corruption. Now, Gustavo de Leon appointed someone on the PUB board, and the agreement, the understanding was that they will put that person to fill Erasmo's seat. Now, this really bothered me, ladies and gentlemen, because if you knew the type of person that Erasmo Castro was, he was against corruption. He was against corruption. And here we have a federal agent that appointed a PUB board member, and he said, hey, si la jugamos bien, te vamos a mover al BISD. Carlos ya tiene los votos. Why? Because they want more money. It's never too much money, ain't enough money. You know the Fed's listening. Vato, what money? That's what these people say. This character bothers me. Now, again, we're focusing on PUB, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to reveal the final players in this web of corruption that is PUB. And one thing also I want to state very quickly. Bring me back. Many people are saying that Ms. Daisy Zamora, which she sits on the PUB board, they're making a big stink about it. And look, it's no secret when you talk to somebody randomly. Hey, what do you think about PUB? What do you think about Tanasca? They stole from us. They lied to us. Nothing was done. No arrests were made. Now, many people have criticized. And look, for the record, Frank Olivo, your humble servant. If you go back to the May 9th's program, we talked about who's going to win, Cardenas or Zamora. And I talked about what was affecting their campaigns. And I did bring the argument. Because again, Ms. Cepeda says, what money? Taxpayer money that they stole from us. And look, for the record, Good Morning Brownsville did state that the thing affecting Ms. Daisy Zamora was PUB. This thing about PUB. I have no agendas. I say the good, the bad, the ugly. And if I said something back then, I'm going to tell you, look, this is what I said. I'm not like Susan for the people who I'm biased towards my candidate. Why? Because they have a financial interest. They have a business interest to follow. So look, for the record, I did state, you know what? That's the only bad thing about Ms. Zamora. But Mr. Pedro Cardenas has been on that board for 4 years. Have you ever heard him talk about PUB? Has he ever posted that, hey, my people, I want the race to go down. I want to look into this. He's a commissioner with a lot of power. He could make a phone call. Frankie, why don't you bring them to your show and confirm if they are saying the truth regarding the web? Reach out to Gustavo de Leon, Cardenas de Leon, and question them regarding your topic of financial interest. Thank you so much, Ms. Perez, for bringing this up. The invitation is out there, gentlemen. De Leon, Pedrito, Roy, do you want to talk about this right before election day, right before early voting? I'll be more than willing to lend you my platform, gentlemen. But Ms. Presas, it's sad because they know I'm right. They know the information that I have is 1,000% accurate. So again, gentlemen, go live. Talk about what I said. You know, if you deny it, you know the authorities you're gonna piss off the authorities, right? So again, the invitation is out there. You want to come on my platform and say that I'm a liar, that I have it wrong? Early voting is set for tomorrow. So the invitation is out there, gentlemen. I know you're watching. I know you're watching. In fact, let me see who's watching. $1,300 people live. That's not bad for being a holiday. So far on this live, I have 1.3K, and I'm going to take a picture of it. So people say, you're lying. So after 56, and I'm going to post it on my story right now, para que no digan que no soy un liar. 57 minutes we have, we're still not done. In 57 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, we have 1.3 1,000 people, 1,300 people that have tuned in live on a holiday. Oh, well, maybe come on tomorrow, Commissioner. Did you make a deal with Trey Mendez promising the city attorney position? Remember, everything you say will be held against you in a court of law. Have Trey Mendez sue me. He's an attorney. You know Nudith is strong. So you conspired with Pedrito. You conspired with Trey to get the support because you need all the support because you need this position, Mr. Roy de los Santos. You want to come on live tomorrow and we'll talk about it? Are you sure you want to do that on the day of early voting, sir? Let's do it. I was going to talk about butterflies tomorrow, but hey, the invitation is yours, is open. You want to talk about it? You're calling me a liar? I'd be careful because you're going to piss off my sources. You're going to piss off the authorities. And they will come on strong. Okay. We'll see about that. Ow! Again, we're talking about PUB, ladies and gentlemen, where appointments were made. Look at these characters. Who is the common denominator? Ms. Presas, we get the information as soon as it comes in, ma'am. And we have an obligation that as soon as we, and it takes a while, ma'am. Bring me up. Why do podcast peeps wait till the week of early voting to put info to the public? Again, this is serious allegations that I'm making. I can't just get it and throw it and see if it sticks. No. We sit on it. We wait. We verify. A lot of information is being sent our way. But again, I have a moral obligation to my community to present nothing but bangers, nothing but facts. They're calling me a liar. I want them to sue me because I know my sources are strong. I know the authorities will come down hard on them after this is all said and done. So why do podcast peeps take to the week of early voting? Ma'am, investigative journalism is difficult. And remember, my credibility is on the line. And once my credibility is questioned, I lose it all. So I was sitting on this and verifying and confirming with sources, with my creative team, with my production team. It's a science, Ms. Presas. It's a science. But at the end of the day, there is madness. There is science to my madness. So that is why it takes me a while, because I have to confirm facts. And these facts lead me to down dark alleys that I don't want to go into. Why? Because people that I thought were friends are part of this corruption. They're part of this web. Ms. Presas, you think I find pleasure in outing Gustavo de Leon, who is a decorated, retired federal agent? You think I want that? Why don't you post about Pedro stealing from candidates? Ay, Ms. Presas. Why, Ms. Presas? Because your candidate de Leon is outed? I'm not upset, ma'am. You should be upset. Don't you fight corruption? Aren't you about doing what's right for the people? Susan And Miss Presas are upset because I'm calling out their candidates in the races. Well, Gustavo de Leon. So no, ma'am. Well, you know what? Heck yeah, I'll stand on it. I am upset because people thought that Gustavo de Leon was the knight in shining armor because he was a federal agent. And look what he did. He went into the city manager's office last week and he strong-armed her. He showed support in what Pedro Cardenas was saying. So do I sound upset? Yes, ma'am, I am upset. I'll admit it. You should be too. Don't you fight corruption? Aren't you doing about the better good? Or is that just mumbo jumbo that you and Susan use to try and get support? Ma'am, I told you. Good Morning Brownsville presents the good, the bad, and the ugly. We give our community the whole enchilada. What my community decides to do with it, that's on them. But I do not have personal agendas such as Susan Rubalcaba. I do not have personal interests in these races. I do not have any friendships such as the friendships that you have with Gustavo de Leon. So yes, ma'am, I am upset. Shouldn't you be too? An individual that was recently sworn in last week, 2 weeks ago, is already doing nepotism? You are coming across upset. We just need to be informed. I'm doing it. Ms. Presas, you are part of that corruption if you do not call them out to their faces. Again, you supported Gustavo de Leon. Have him come on the show, ma'am. Ask him, is it true what he's saying? Did you, Gustavo de Leon, just last week? I'm not talking about things that happened 6 months ago, Ms. Presas. I'm talking about things that happened last week. This information is fresh. Like fresh, like Thursday fresh. Why don't you ask him about that? And your business is your business. You want me to talk about your business? You want me to say of what I saw when I went to Tennessee for that school board conference? You want me to shed things to light? I don't play that way. But if you're attacking me, maybe I should throw your dirty laundry out. How about you call him? I don't have his phone number. Ask him. Did you do this? Ask him. I will gladly I will take a seat back and I will give him an hour of my platform. Well, instead of attacking me, Ms. Presas, you should be questioning him. Because again, I stand by my reporting and my investigations because this ultimately affects my credibility. And you know what? The people deserve to know who the hell we have in City Hall. So if you're about corruption, Ms. Presas, I don't want to speak to him. Have him call me. Or how about you call him? Call him. Let him know. Hey, te están acusando de cosas muy graves, muy delicadas. ¿Quieres decir algo? Pero mira, se van a quedar. Because they know están enchorizados. They know it. But again, going along with our program, we're talking about PUB. Again, recap. I'm going to tell you now, reveal the final players of PUB that Gustavo de Leon appointed, that Pedro Cardenas appointed. Pedro Cardenas appointed someone from Monarca, Baja Kitchen. Gustavo de Leon appointed someone from PUB to PUB, and the movida is that they will put that man at BISD now. Again, PUB. Now, before, I want you to focus on these interesting characters. I happen to know some of them. What is the common denominator between these two people? Here we have Gustavo de Leon on the left with a cap, or white cap. And then we have Mr. Pedro Cardenas in white. Who are they with, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the moment of truth. The individuals that are behind this web of corruption is individuals that are hiding in the backgrounds. Ladies and gentlemen, It's sad for me to report that the individual that was going to, plural, because after this, they're going to get scared and they're not even going to entertain the idea, is none other than Mr. Martin Sarkis, a PUB board member. And the movida was that they were going to place him on PUB. Jaime Presas, I'm busy doing a show, man. Yo sí tengo huevos. I'm calling them out to their names, to their faces. Unlike you, who are protecting them. Yo sí tengo los pantalones bien puestos. Yo sí tiro fregazos. I'm calling them out. Let's see what they say. Invite them on my show. As I was saying, Martin Sarkis was appointed by Gustavo de Leon. The move is that he will fill the seat of Erasmo Castro on the BISD board. Because again, these individuals, they want power. They want their hands in every entity out there. We have the city of Brownsville with a budget of $130 million. The biggest monster, the biggest juggernaut out there is BISD. They just approved their annual budget of 530 some. We'll call it 500 even flat, just for the sake of a number. These individuals, they want everything and more. Again, too much money ain't enough money. You know the Fed's listening. Vato, what money? So Martin Sarkis was placed by Gustavo de Leon on the PUB board. The movida is that he's going to get appointed. Well, after this show, he's going to be scared to fill Erasmo Castro's seat. Erasmo Castro, who was fighting against corruption. And Alejandro Nájera was appointed by Pedrito Cardenas. Now, why? Why these interesting characters, ladies and gentlemen? Why are these people part of this corruption? Why? Why would Pedro Cardenas and Gustavo de Leon put these people in there? What is their end game? You think, ladies and gentlemen, it is because they're great, outstanding citizens with a community? Why? You think these are amazing people? It's sad to report that Martin Sarkis, he can't even speak English. How the hell is he on the board? The PUB board. How the hell is he going to be appointed to BISD? He can't even talk in English. Now, what is their end game? Why did Pedrito Cardenas and Gustavo de Leon put these people in there at PUB? For contracts. Mingo Patty says it best. Mingo Patty Hernandez. Because of the money. Because of the money. Special treatments for developers. Now, I beg to you the question, those insiders at PUB, those people that work there, those individuals at City Hall, I ask you this question. How many contractors, contracts, developers is Nájera on the left screen and Cardenas currently representing? Mr. Nájera on the left, he's the owner of Monarca Baja Chicken in downtown Brownsville. Has he gotten money from the taxpayers? Has Mr. Alejandro Nájera and or Monarca Baja Kitchen, have they received contracts because of this web of corruption? Martin Ingles sin barrera. Gee, I want money too. Who doesn't want money? Right, Mingo Patty? We want money. And again, if you look at Mr. Martin Sarkis' page, look what he says, ladies and gentlemen. Martin Sarkis, Brownsville first. Oh my goodness. Bring me up on the screen. I have to say this, and I have to, he's not very well with He's not very well in English, so I have to say it in Spanish. ¿Qué onda, Martín? Tarquis, te están acusando de ser parte de un crimen organizado. Te están acusando de ser parte del PUB, que tú junto con Alejandro Nájera van a hacer un desmadre y van a beneficiar económicamente y vas a cuidar a contratistas, aquellos que te van a dar, que te van a aflojar. Hasta te estoy acusando yo de que Gustavo de León te puso en este puesto de PUB para hacer todo el desmadre, tú y Alejandro Nájera. Y la movida es de que te van a poner en el lugar de Erasmo Castro. Qué vergüenza, Martín. Tú, de todas las personas, sabes muy bien de qué Erasmo era. Era en contra de la corrupción. Era en contra de personas como tú, como Carlos, Gustavo, Pedrito y Roy, y hasta Trey también. Qué vergüenza, Martín. Qué vergüenza. A mí me duele porque tú estuviste en el funeral y tú me diste la pésima. Me duele porque yo pensaría de que tú no harías algo así. Tú sabías el tipo de persona que era Erasmo. Mira, ¿dónde te encuentras? Enredado en todo este mugrero. Enredado en todo este mugrero. Pero ahora el mundo sabe. ¿Y las autoridades? Yo no sé. Ya sabrás. Now, again, why are we doing this? Why are we bringing this up to light? Because you, as a voter, ay, Martín, ¿quieres jugar ese juego, Martín? ¿Quieres jugar ese juego? ¿No te puso el puesto, Gustavo? ¿No era la movida de ir al BISD para ayudarle a Carlos con los contratos? Síganle. Ustedes no están tratando de dar la cara, pero, hey, las autoridades ya saben. ¿Tú quieres las pruebas, Martín? Pues vas a estar buscando sobre tus hombros, porque las autoridades te las van a enseñar. Tarde o temprano, Martín. Tarde o temprano. Now, why are we talking about this? Why are we bringing this up to light? Because just last week, ladies and gentlemen, this information is fresh. Did Pedro Cardenas strong arm city manager to get Carlos a job with Gustavo de León, their president? Yes, absolutely. An exchange, they wanted to appoint Sarkis to BISD because apparently he's going to resign. But we don't think that's true. He's not going to resign. Why? Because these people want to have access. They want control of all the boards. Now, again, my people, I ask of you, why am I doing this? Why am I risking my neck for the truth? Elizabeth goes on to ask, do you have information that Gus and Pedro went to the city manager asking them to hire Elizondo? Ask them, Elizabeth. They are your representatives. Call them. If you think that I'm lying, call them. Roy and Martin Sarkis are calling me a liar. They know I have the truth. They know very well that my sources are very, very good. They're trying to save face. They want you to think that I'm lying. My people know if I bring it, I bring it. I bring bangers, but I speak the truth. Unlike those Susan Rubalcaba for the people that tell you one side of that only attacks Daisy, but is not seeing all the skeletons that Pedrito has. Again, these are serious allegations. If they say that I'm a liar, sue me. I welcome it. I beg you to sue me because I'll have discovery. And you know what happens with discovery. Sale todo, papá. Sale todo, daddy. Again, Trey Mendez is an attorney. Have him sue me. Martin Sarkis is calling me a liar. He wants me to show him the proof. I wouldn't be worried about Frankie right now. Ay, ahora en inglés. Ah, pinche inglés sin barrera. No te preocupes, Martín. Las autoridades ya saben muy bien de Saga. Me dijo Erasmo. Me dijo muy bien, detalladamente. Las autoridades ya saben de Saga y ahora se están enterando de este borlote. That's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody pays me. These people and my sources, they know. That's the difference between me and the bloggers. That's the difference between me and someone like Susan Rubalcaba, who claims to be for the people. I do this as a hobby. Nadie me está pagando, Martín. ¿Tú crees que le pagaban a Erasmo para hablar de toda la corrupción que había en Bronzeville? Tú dime cuándo. Tú dime cuándo, Martín. Yo te doy mi espacio. Yo te lo doy, yo te lo presento. Okay, Susan, you want to talk about something? Okay, let's talk about it. Now, here we have Susan Rubalcaba calling Miss Daisy Zamora, Dr. Daisy Zamora, a snake, sneaky snake. Really, Susan? Yeah, Martin, you got to do it in English because you want it to be on PUB and BISD. It has to be in English, Martin. Okay, mañana si quieres, a las 9 de la mañana, ya sabes, te mando el link. Conmigo no hay guato. Pero en inglés. En inglés. Now, here you have. I will. I'll send him the link tomorrow. He wants to talk to the community. Again, Martin, no sé si sabes. No sé si sabes. Not Jazz Marie Reyes. Oh, my community, you're funny. Oh, man. What was I going? I lost my train of thought. Chingo. All right. Never mind. I'm sorry, chat. I was going to say something, but I totally forgot. Anyways, back to the show. So here we have Miss Susan Rubalcaba stating that Miss Daisy Zamora is a snake. Daisy Zamora didn't steal servers' tips. Daisy Zamora didn't lose a business because they couldn't pay their taxes. They didn't know how to run a business. You know who did? Pedro Cardenas. So why do we have here the Republican chairwoman, Ms. Deborah Bell, vouching for Pedrito? Well, Pedrito's supposed to support their congressional candidate. And look what they say, ladies and gentlemen. Again, these people cannot read the room. These people are telling you that a doctor is a snake because she accepted a $1,000 contribution from the mayor. And look, it may be, hey, I understand. Why is the mayor giving $1,000 to a candidate? Well, maybe he believes in her. Maybe he sees what Pedro's all about and what he's capable of. And that the people, they're not hearing the truth of the real Pedro Cardenas. So maybe that was a vote of confidence. Here, a donation of confidence. Here, ma'am, I believe in your platform. Ultimately, that is what, did he break a law by doing that? No. Absolutely not. And that opportunity is given to any taxpayer or community member. If you believe in a client, you're allowed to demonstrate your confidence in that candidate by giving a donation. So these ladies are calling Susan Rubalcaba and Deborah Bell are calling this doctor a snake, a sneaky snake. But let's talk about who is the snake. Again, say no to backroom deals. I agree with you, Deborah. Say no to quid pro quo. I agree with you, Deborah. Say no to the compadre system. I agree with you, Deborah. Say no to the lack of transparency. I agree with you, Deborah. And say no to liars. Deborah, I agree with you, girlfriend. But you know what? Who you were explaining who that was? Wasn't Daisy Zamora. You're referring to Pedrito Cardenas. Pedrito Cardenas, who has done backroom deals with Roy de los Santos to get Trey Mendez the city attorney position. Quid pro quo, he appointed Alejandro Nájera. Pedrito Cardenas is a part of that corrupt system, that compadre system. Say no to transparency. Have you had transparency from Pedrito? It took him 7 months to file the annual campaign finance report. Why? Because he was washing it. Again, y'all think that I'm dumb. But I have all the facts, ladies and gentlemen. And you, the community, should know, deserve to know the real Pedro Cardenas. Voters should be made aware that Mr. Cardenas does not live in the district, has failed to offer a residential address within the district. Voters should also be aware that Mr. Cardenas has no source of income except for the stipend that is provided to elected city commissioners. It took Mr. Pedro Cardenas 6 months to file a campaign finance report of a reported $100,000 in donations. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm no white-collar crime specialist, but that sounds a lot to me like they were washing it. But I don't know, fam. I don't know. Now, again, why are bloggers, why are people such as Susan for the People, why are they bashing this woman? That's what I questioned. Why? Is she really that bad? Is she really a snake? Is she? Man, ladies and gentlemen, after the information, and again, I vet my information. I vet it because if it comes back to be wrong, my credibility goes down the drain. You will never, ever listen to Good Morning Brownsville. And that's the last thing that I need. Because I want to be the voice for the people. I pride myself in being a people's champion, that we stand up to bullies, that we stand up to corruption, and we call it out. Bring me up. And we call it out to their face. That's what I pride myself on. Martin Sarki says, who's paying you? I do this for sport, doggy. A mí nadie me paga. Yo lo hago porque esto es lo correcto. Personas como tú, Carlos, Gustavo, Pedrito, Roy, Trey, no merecen estar a cargo de estos puestos. Por eso lo hago. Yo sí tengo los huevos y tengo los pantalones bien puestos, papá. Como me enseñó mi tío Erasmo. Mira. So again, why are we bringing this up? Because it's the right thing to do. Why are you bringing this up, Frankie? Because tomorrow is early voting, and my community deserves to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. What you decide to do with it, that's up to you. That's not my job. I'm not here to convince you. My job is to present you the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you want to do with that, that's out of my hands. But Good Morning Brownsville will give you the whole enchilada. We'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I will be transparent with you in regards to any politician that throws their name out there. I will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly about them. That is why I'm doing this, ladies and gentlemen. That is why I'm doing this. Now, who is Daisy Zamora? She's a scientist, a researcher in nutritional health. She's an online professor for the University of North Carolina. She has a doctor's degree in epidemiology. I apologize for the fumble, which is a study of diseases. She has served on charter review boards where she placed on the voting ballots more transparency from PUB. And she's also been advocating for term limits for politicians. This is who the bloggers are telling you is a snake. This is the person that's telling you that doesn't deserve your vote. Really? I showed you the type of person Pedrito Cardenas is. But Ms. Daisy Zamora, she believes in listening to the public, and she is fighting for what's right. Her only interest in this is for the people. She wants to improve the quality of life for the citizens of Brownsville. Her focus will be healthcare, infrastructure, and economic development. She doesn't need the money. She's a doctor from a prominent family, a beautiful family. She doesn't need this. You know who does? That candidate that doesn't have a job. That candidate that washed $100,000. That candidate that stole. Why did he steal servers' tips? Is it that bad? Chingo. To my community, I will never, ever present you with an agenda of mine. I will never, ever come on and blast individuals for my personal gain. Why do we get up every morning? Because we seek the truth. We fight injustices. We stand up to bullies. We flex on them hoes. That's what we're about. The difference between Frankie Olivo, Good Morning Brownsville, and the bloggers and Susan for the People is that they get paid. They have a business interest in having Pedro Cardenas win. I do this for sport. I do this as a hobby. I do this because I had a great master. And I learned that you give the people the truth, no matter what dark alley it brings, no matter what shady characters will threaten you with things. I'm risking my neck, ladies and gentlemen. I'm uncovering the truth. I tagged the 3-letter agency. I tagged the different government entities in here. They're watching. They're very well aware of what's going on. To my community, we are on the eve of early voting. Tomorrow will determine. Tomorrow starts early voting, have a week, and then election day. We will soon find out the landscape, the dynamics, which is the city of Brownsville and its commission. It is very important for us to focus and think about who do you want representing you on that city commission. Good Morning Brownsville will say, vote for the ladies. They are educated. They are for the people. Roy and Pedrito have shown that they have done backroom deals, that they're part of quid pro quos, that they lack transparency. And then they call me a liar. We'll see who's a liar. We'll see who's a liar once the feds start knocking. Ladies and gentlemen, I have production in my ear. Oh, all right. Mr. Olivo, we have the FBI on line 1. Thank you, sir, whenever you're free. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 30 minutes past our hour. Production team is screaming at me. We will be paying a hefty fine for our overlay, but thank you again to each and every one of you for tuning in. Again, we pride ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, on giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly. What my community decides to do with it is up to you. My job here is done. Thank you so much for your time and your attention, ladies and gentlemen. You know, Good Morning Brownsville will come on to you Monday through Friday live at 9 a.m. And you know we bring bangers, baby. Ow! Thank you so much for your time and your attention. And thank you so much to my community for listening in. My name is Frankie Olivo, and this is Mr. Medrano. Thank you, sir. Hey, I need to stop by the... Is it still open? The trailers? The food? Let me know. Thank you so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frankie Olivo. This is Good Morning Brownsville.